Kia ora and welcome. Welcome to another episode of The Leadership Lounge. I'm Katie, I'm your host. Great to have you here for another episode. So The Leadership Lounge is a space for healthcare leaders, wherever you're working, whatever your role is. And remember, leadership is an attitude. It's not a title. It's not about hierarchy here. This is about your intention and your willingness, your desire to make a change in the healthcare sector, to support other people, to develop other people. So this is the place for you if you want to get that fresh perspective. Take a big breath. This is your moment of pause to stop and reflect. I'm Katie. I'm your host. I've been working in healthcare for about 30 years and I've done a whole range of things, and currently this podcast is one of the ways that I am helping to inspire, motivate, encourage, provide that space of connection and hope, because all the people that I work with and the various different ways that I do that, they are massively committed to the challenges and the demands that working in healthcare has wherever in the world that you're doing it. So welcome, this is the place. Now this week I've had quite a few conversations, and there's been a theme, as there always is, which usually throws out that list of stuff that I want to talk about, because I like to stay really relevant and front of mind. And it's been about being stuck. This feeling of, I can't see a way out. Now, this is really common in a number of leadership roles, and I think there's a couple of reasons for it. And one of them is that massive demand and pressure and expectations, particularly if you're in any kind of leading leaders or this patient-facing leadership roles. You've got so many demands and there are so few barriers between you and those demands, whether it be your staff, whether it be the patients, clients, whoever that is. There's just no barrier, and you're front on all of the time. You know, I hate the term front line. However, it is that kind of feeling. Dance floor is what I sometimes try and reframe it to, but doesn't feel like a dance floor, can feel like a front line. So they're the conversations that have been going on this week. And it's been interesting because when you come in and you're talking to people and listening to the stories, it can be really easy to see the wood for the trees. But when you're in the midst of it, you can't. And it's really hard to then go, what is going to make any difference? And everything can feel too hard or too hopeless, and nothing is going to be the actual fix that you need. So it's really important to remember that often it can feel overwhelming. It can feel absolutely enormous. And the idea of how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time comes to mind. But I guess my challenge this week is to do something different. If you're feeling stuck and it's horrible and you're not liking it and it feels awful, all of that stuff, and you're just dreading coming into work, do something different. Now, I'm not talking about jumping ship and leaving your job, okay? Unless that is the right choice for you. But I'm giving it a go here. Just try one little thing. You've got to try something different. It's almost begging you here. So we know the phrase, and I hope you know that phrase, about the fact that doing the same thing and expecting a different result is the definition of insanity. And it really is, if you're rocking up to the same challenges every day and doing the same thing, the same routine and the same answers and the same struggles, then it's going to stay the same and probably get worse. So you've got to do something different. And this is where I like to remind people that they've actually got more power and more choice than it can sometimes feel like. So this is really a kind of a encouraging plea to you if you're in this kind of state, if you're feeling like you don't know what it's like, Kate, I've got to do this and I've got to do that and I can't do any of that and this person expects this and there is just no way out and I'm stuck and I'm hating it. Okay, you do have more choice than you realise, even if it's something like change your breakfast, or maybe change what you wear, or maybe change the layout of your desk, or maybe put a picture up in front of you that makes you feel joyful and happy. do something different, make a change. Because it starts with that. And then it's another thing, and then it's another thing. You've got to start somewhere. Because when you're feeling stuck, and I get this completely, the first step can be the hardest around things. So you've got to do something different. Now, it could be just that small tweak, eating a different breakfast, drinking out of a different coffee mug, or something like in those kind of, small things. I'm just going to try this different, because then your brain starts to recognize and notice that you're doing something different. Now, noticing is really important in this, because I'll often talk to people in that state around, what have you done today? What's been a win? What's something that's gone well? They can't think of anything. And I know they'll have done a million things well, great, or that have made a difference. So it's starting to make you aware and make you notice things. So that's why I think this is a logical thing to do. Just try something different. Now, you could, on the other hand, so I'm just thinking back, that challenge I had recently when I read 10x is easier than 2x, where I've always been about the small steps, the steady progress, the do the small things every day, and eventually makes a change. And that book really recommends, no, don't do that. Do something massive. What is the thing that would be enormous? So maybe it's about an enormous change or something different. Maybe it is about changing countries or changing jobs or becoming vegetarian or walking to work or whatever it is, a massive thing. So only you are going to know what the right thing is, whether that be the small change, the big change. You know what you've got within you. You know the change that you want. You know the life that you're trying to create and want to create. And the choice is yours about what you're going to do. Do different. Now, there's a couple of things that I recommend when you're contemplating around this, probably a couple of books. Now, my favourite book on change that I often share is Switch by Dan and Chip Heath. Now, I think this is a really lovely model of change. And while it is usually applying to organisations or teams, I can't see that it wouldn't refer to you yourself as an individual. One of the favourite things in that is finding the bright spots. So again, it's bring you back to the things that are going well. What are you grateful for? What are you thankful for? What are the things that have made you smile? Just ask yourself that every day. Maybe that's the change you make. Actually, if you're feeling stuck, I would say start there. If you're feeling like you really can't see the wood for the trees, start with that. 2 wins every day. Write them down at the end of the day. 2 different wins every day. The other book that's really good in this space, and I have to confess now, I haven't read this book, I've heard about it. I've been on the receiving end of a mini version of coaching, and Brené Brown has got a great podcast where it talks through it as well, which is also awesome. I will find the link to that to pop in the show notes. And that's called Immunity to Change. And, is it Rob Keegan? See, this is the downside of not even having the books that I want to read here, because they're still in a box on a boat heading towards England. So Immunity to Change is the other one. Now, the other thing to bear in mind is this can often be connected with the habits that you want to create. So Atomic Habits, probably one of the easiest books to pick up and read about changing habits or create either stopping bad habits or creating new habits. So they're my kind of recommendations around this if you're looking for something. So I'll pop the links to those books, pop the links to the podcasts that relate to those as well. If you just need the podcast, is there a TED Talk in any of those? There may be, who knows? I'll try and see what I can find. And I've done some blog posts in the past about change as well, so we'll throw in some links to those as well. So that was it for this week, really. And I wanted to share, though, at the end, this idea of how it can just sneak up on you that you're in a rut or stuck. So we've been here for probably 2.5 months now. We're deep in this redecoration, renovation sort of space. So the weeks are kind of plodding by, and every weekend we pretty much spend either to and from DIY places and doing stuff. And this weekend it was supposed to be the garden was going to be my focus. I did get a few things done. But everything seems to have slowed down a little bit. So Adam hurt his back, not surprisingly, really, as I've been telling you every week about all the stuff he's been doing. However, so he hurt his back and it hasn't been doing as much. So we were feeling probably a bit sluggish around the fact that we hadn't made as much progress over the last week as previously. And we had just grabbed a coffee, and a beautiful sunny Sunday here today. And we just went, should we go somewhere? So we went out, and my very good friend had sent me a lovely little book on walks in the local area. And we picked a short walk and we went and did the walk. And it was absolutely the best thing we could have ever done. When the book arrived, I was like, I haven't got time to go for a walk because we've got to get this house done. But we were getting tied up in knots. We were sort of losing our momentum, losing our energy around stuff. And so going out and doing this walk was our doing something different. So rather than that plodding on and doing the same things and expecting a different result, expecting all of a sudden to make massive progress when we're both tired and got a sore back, all of that stuff. So we went out for a walk. Sometimes it can be that. Just taking a different route to work maybe can be your different thing. We can be the change that we want to see in the world, but we can also invite that change into our lives around the things that we want to see and feel and be different within our own lives. And that idea of not being able to see the wood for the trees and feeling stuck, it can feel awful, it can feel dark, and it can feel scary. So just try one little thing. Grab a friend, pick up the phone, ask somebody, just do something different. Because all the time you're just sitting there, nothing is going to change if you don't change. So you've got to do the work. So I'm trying to be encouraging. I'm also kind of trying to tell you to just get on and do something different. Do something different. Have you got the message yet? I do hope so. All right, I am wrapping up this week. Now, if you're subscribed to the regular No Jedi email that I send out, you'll know that I sent out a survey last week, and I just want to shout out a big, massive thanks to the people that have responded already and the emails that I've had, because it has been absolutely amazing. I haven't had time to reply back to everybody as yet. However, it was just so lovely. It feels like that email that I send out is just hitting the spot, that real nice blend of encouragement, inspiration and ideas, and that it gets the right mix between some short, snappy bits, some little quotes that I throw in, or the storytelling approach that I use from time to time. So it's a beautiful blend, and it seems to be hitting the spot from what you've been telling me. Now, in the spirit of doing something different, I've been reflecting over the last few weeks, and I'm actually shifting it up a little bit, and I'm going to be decreasing the frequency of that email. Now, this is really about my sanity while I am trying to renovate a house, learning a new job, all of that stuff going on. I knew I needed to do something different. So this podcast is really the homage to me sitting in a stuck point and going in circles a little bit and not realizing I could do something different. So that's the first thing. I'm going to do something different there. That's going to decrease the frequency. It's still going to be coming out. There's still going to be the blog post stuff. I've still got a host of resources and stuff. I've been at this since I can't remember now, a long, long time. So there's a lot of stuff out there. And the other thing that I'm going to do differently is have more regular breaks in the podcast. I tend to keep going until there's some kind of holiday, Easter or Christmas. And so I'm going to have more frequent breaks, just short breaks. So I'm going to have a couple of weeks off from the podcast over the next 2 weeks, primarily because it's my birthday. And let's be honest, I'm having a couple of days off work. We're going away to do a couple of nice things and visit some nice places. And I'm really looking forward to just having that bit more space and freedom in my weeks in that week. So I will be back in a couple of weeks' time with another episode of the Leadership Lounge. Do though still sign up, because the email is still going to be coming out. You're still going to be getting all that amazing wisdom, inspiration, encouragement, hope, and connection. And of course, you can always listen to the back catalogue now, because this has been going for a little while. I think we are at episode, I think it's 71. Oh no, look, I did it right normally when I do my notes. Yes, episode 71 today. So that's pretty cool. I'm quite excited by that. Okay, that is us for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Leadership Lounge. I will be back in a couple of weeks' time when I will have ticked over another year around the sun and been celebrating and being a year older, which is something I enjoy because many people don't get that privilege. And so despite the aches and pains that are coming on from time to time, It is a real pleasure and privilege to grow older. So I'll have enjoyed my birthday and I'll be back. Who knows what stories will be abound at that time, what insights will have come out from having a couple of days off for my birthday. You all take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful couple of weeks. If you're in that mess and darkness and feeling like you are stuck, couple of words. You are doing better than you think you are. If you are still showing up, you are doing 1,000,000 times better than you think you are. And just have a little look around you, roll your shoulders, take that big breath. Remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing. Know that you're making a difference. And then maybe just change one little thing. I dare you. See you soon. Take care.